All right, folks, welcome back to Wisdom Wednesday. This is our May 2023 edition. I'm Dorothy Dorton with AARP Alabama, and I'm so glad you could join us today. This is a very special Wisdom Wednesday. As many of you know, Older Americans Month is May. And so we are, this is kind of our month to really shine and put some great information out there for you. And today we have a very special guest with us with the Area Agency on Aging down here in Lower Alabama. And he's going to be talking about Ombudsman. And these are really important folks and that have great resources for you and your loved ones. We've had to use the Ombudsman around the state personally through the Alabama team a lot lately because we've been doing a lot of caregiving for our older loved ones. So with that, I want to welcome Frank Willis. Again, good morning. He's with the South Alabama Regional Planning Commission's Area Agency on Aging, and he is our Ombudsman down here. So Frank, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate having you.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we will get started. So Frank, your job is super important. And can you tell us a little bit about exactly what is an ombudsman?
Well, technically, ombudsman is a Swedish word that means speaking on behalf of someone else. And honestly, most of the time, people can speak well for themselves. They just don't have the lingo, or they don't know who to communicate to or with, and that's where I come in. They can call me, I can tell them, or visit me, and I can tell them what's going on, and or how to communicate, who to talk to, the right language to use, and really we resolve problems, issues, answer questions, concerns, complaints at any nursing home, assisted living, boarding house. I talk to people that just need information that have nothing to do with any of those facilities, but they need information. And that's why we're here. We're glad to help any way we can. Next slide, please.
Okay. And that's wonderful because there's so many people out there who don't have someone to help speak up for them, and they may not be able to speak up for themselves. So that's such a valuable thing you do.
A lot of time, the people that call me don't know who to talk to or where to go. And sometimes it's as simple as directing them to somebody else. They've been given the runaround. They've talked to 20 people and still don't know who they need to address their concerns with. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's somebody else, but that's part of my job. If you look at this slide, it says companion, advocate, educator, mediator, broker. It's all of those, but a lot of time we just refer people to different areas that they need, where they can get the information they need. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. So I was going to say, so you're kind of like a one-stop shop for folks and can help them out.
If I can't help them or the ombudsman cannot help them, they can usually tell the person who to call or which agency to contact. And if all else fails, they can call the Adult and Disabled Resource Center at the Area Agency on Aging, and I can give the numbers for that.
Awesome. Okay. And let me pop up this next slide. That sounds great. I am just realizing that some of the slides didn't load here. So let me get some of these up here for you. Okay. But that's really great. I mean, it's, it's so wonderful to have you and your fellow ombudsmen across the state just here to help, and so many people don't know about this. So I'm really glad you were on today. So here we go. Tell us a little bit about what your responsibilities are.
Well, of course, the most important one is if there is a complaint made by a resident, and anybody can call us, resident, family, friend, nursing home staff, just a concerned citizen. Anybody can call us. The number one thing we probably do that's most important is if there is a complaint at any long-term care facility, we can investigate it. We can go in, find out. And of course, we keep all of the information anonymous unless it's something where we have to have a resident's name or the caller's name. We keep it anonymous. And we do investigate complaints. We try to resolve them. A lot of times we can resolve them. It just goes back to communication or finding the correct person to provide information to. And then another portion of our job is we provide information about long-term care services. You know, what's available in the community, what's available at the facility that they are living in. Sometimes families don't understand. Uh, yes, there is a family council. Yes, there is activities. Sometimes one of my favorite things to deal with is menu issues, where people don't realize that there are alternative meals at every facility, and all they have to do is order them. It's things like that we get involved in. And of course, we represent the interest of the residents, and we do talk to different governmental agencies, and we do talk to legal and administrative places just to try to get things organized. And a lot of times, we get involved with things that really boil down to health, safety, welfare, and the rights of residents and the laws that kind of guide those. Next slide, please.
And that's so important. The rights of residents is really key because, like I said, so many, residents in long-term care facilities or rehab facilities, they're not always able to speak for themselves, and they may not have somebody in their corner.
I always boil rights down to, of course, there's the formal, you have a right to fairness, freedom, and self-determination. But there's a little easier way to consider it. It's pretty much if you would expect it at your home within reason, and I'll give an example of something unreasonable, you should expect it at the nursing home. For instance, if you are used to getting up at 5 a.m. and getting a cup of coffee in a nursing home or assisted living, you should be able to request that and get that. Now, an unreasonable expectation would be like asking the staff to go to Waffle House at 2 a.m. They're not going to do it. They just can't. But that's part of residents' rights. I always try to say, if you would expect it at home, privacy, to be involved in your own medical care, to know what's going on, to know how much something's going to cost, to know the services available. If you would expect that, you should expect it when you're in a nursing home or assisted living. Another thing we do a lot of times is just educate people, whether it's about the services available, the services available in the public, like AARP. Sometimes it's things like different programs that may benefit the citizen, the resident. Sometimes it's programs that may benefit the residents' families. And sometimes we just provide general information to the public just so they know. If they have any interest, there's the information. We can provide it. We're always providing information to organizations and trying to get things like resident councils and family councils at the different facilities up and going and organized so they know their rights. They know what to expect. They know who to talk to. And the last bullet on this slide, advocate for change to improve residents' quality of life. We are, all of us, every ombudsman in the state, always pushing to make things better. Even the minor things sometimes can make a big difference. For instance, I will go back to the food thing. There was one nursing home on one hall where residents who were bedbound were complaining that their food was always lukewarm, if not cold. And I watched the lady that was delivering the trays, and she was parking the rack, I guess you would call it, with the food on it directly under the air vents in the ceiling, which of course you've got air blowing down directly on the people's food while she's
Mhm.
delivering it into the rooms. Well, yeah, that does change the temperature of the food. Even though it's all secured, locked up, just
Mhm.
that was enough to make a difference. And when she started parking on the other side of the hall rather than right under the big air vent, well, the complaints stopped. That was a little change, but
Right.
improved the quality of life.
Well, and that's a perfect example too, Frank, because a lot of the facilities they're doing the best they can for their residents and they do care about their residents, but when they've got their routine and they've got, a schedule and stuff that they have to do, it's those little things that can just be overlooked that have simple fixes. And it's nobody's fault, but it's great to have someone like you there that's able to kind of observe things like that and help make those little changes that can make a big difference in somebody's quality of life. So I think that's a perfect example.
Next slide, please.
Sure.
Now, pretty much the title of this, the Ombudsman program is available to, and you may as well just say everyone,
Hmm.
anyone that has any interest at all with the resident or wants information about nursing homes, long term care facilities, we're available to them. They can just call us and we will do whatever we can to help. And just FYI, usually we return the call, if not the same day, by the next day. We're required to call within 2 business days, and we really try to stick to that.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Um, just know the laws that operate this. Just know that we're part of the Older Americans Act that
Mhm.
gives us the authority to go into it. You can jump to the next slide.
Sure.
And the state laws that gives us authority. So far, I have not run into a person that has challenged my authority to go into a facility, um, even during COVID, which was
Hmm.
surprising.
Yeah.
Um, and I think most of the nursing homes, assisted livings, long term care facilities understand that the ombudsman has the right to go in and investigate and speak to residents, and we don't need their permission, the administrator or the owner of the facility's permission. We don't have to be escorted. We just go in and do what we need to do. Next slide, please.
And that's really good that you're able to be there for the residents, especially like you said during COVID. That it's nice to know that they've got somebody they can still see face to face if needed.
As far as the historical overview, we've been around a while. I think that
Hmm.
pretty much shows that. And we're going to keep being around. As long as there are people that need assistance, we're going to be part of it. And I think that's really why we're here, just to assist anybody that needs help. And I think you can jump to the next slide now. Okay. The state is required to have ombudsman programs. And we try always to get volunteers involved. This is a little plug to try to get a volunteer or two. Right now, we have some really good volunteers, and we can always use more. If you are interested, you can jump to the next slide.
Sure.
If any, oh, they're talking about confidentiality of records here.
Yes.
I think I've already said yes, we
Yeah,
try to be confidential.
of course.
Um, and we try to do everything in good faith.
Hmm.
But every once in a while, there are things that we cannot keep confidential. if there is a specific complaint about a specific resident, and let's say a specific employee,
Mm-hmm.
I may be able to go in and talk to every resident on that hall or all the residents around them to find out, is this employee doing something?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can see that without having to use any names. But let's say a resident fell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I cannot ask specifics about this. A resident fell on this date with this employee. They're going to know who I'm talking about. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, reality. And I will
Right.
always ask permission to
Right.
use names. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, and my contact information. If anybody needs to contact me for any reason, here's my information. You can mail me, you can email me, you can call me at the office, you can call me on the 800 number, the toll free number, or you can reach us on our website through alabamaageline.gov or www.aginginfo@sarpc.org. And if you are somewhere else in the state and you need to contact an ombudsman, you can always dial 1-800 Age Line. That's 1-800-243-5463. I think
Awesome.
that's nope, we've got the state ombudsman slide coming up next. Our state ombudsman is Miss Virginia Moore Bell. She is in Montgomery. She is wonderful to work with. You can reach her at Age Line as well. So if you can't get stuff you need, you can always call us. We'll try to help any way we can.
Frank, thank you so much. This has been so informative. And like I said, we've had the Alabama AARP Alabama team has had some caregiving situations in other parts of the state where they've had to call their local ombudsman. And there are several of you throughout the state that are able to be connected to folks through that 1-800 Age Line number or the Age Line website. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's 13 area agency on agings around the state, and there is an ombudsman, at least one ombudsman each one of them. So if you're in the state of Alabama and you need help, well, actually anywhere in the country they have ombudsman, but state of Alabama, here's the numbers: 1-800 Age Line. And again, we will gladly help any way we can.
That's wonderful. And Frank, for those folks who might be in a rehabilitation facility or
Mhm.
in a long-term care facility that could be transitioned back home, are there ways to kind of help navigate those
Sure,
folks?
sure. There's a couple of different things. First of all, you need to talk to the discharge planner just to see what's available for them. For
Mhm.
instance, sometimes they just need home health. Sometimes uh, they may need longer term care. One program that we really have had success with is the Gateway program. Now, the Gateway program is for any resident that meets that's on Medicaid or meets Medicaid standards, and they are in a long-term care facility. The program, again, it's the Gateway program, is designed to help residents of long-term care facilities move back into the community. Um, you can ask for a referral be made at that facility, and they will make the referral. A transition coordinator will come out and speak to the resident, basically assess the resident and evaluate their needs. Um, let's say the resident has a home but needs grab bars or ramps or a doorway widened or doorknobs changed from the round knob to the lever. There's limited funds that can help with that.
Great.
Um, and then once they're approved for that program, they can put in a waiver program, the Alabama Community Transition Waiver, will provide services in the home 2 or 3 times a week. The program does not replace 24/7 nursing home care or assisted living care, but it is for people that can make it in the community with just a little more help. They'll put that little more help into the home so that they're not in a nursing home. Everybody wants to be home,
Right.
everybody. And I think the Gateway program is excellent for filling that niche. It's not for everybody. Some people need a lot more help than,
Right.
but it is for a lot of people, and it's been really successful. Really
That's a wonderful
successful.
program, and I'm
It,
sure a lot of people don't know about it. So thanks so much for spreading the word. And I know you are always out and about, checking on folks and stuff, but you also are more than willing to go out and talk to groups. Is that
any,
correct?
that is correct. Anybody can call me. We can schedule where I can talk to your group. The fastest way to reach me is always through the main line at the Area Agency on Aging. That's 251-433-6541. Or email me if I can work it into my schedule. I love to go talk to groups.
Wonderful. Yeah, because this is such great information. More people need to know about it. And again, folks, if you are not in the lower Alabama area, there are other folks you can contact in your area all throughout the state. And you just can call that 1-800 age line number, and they will put you in touch with your local ombudsman. Frank, again, I really do want to thank you so much for coming on today and talking about what you do. Um, you and your colleagues at the Area Agency on Aging, not just here in Lower Alabama, but all across the state, are such great resources and such great assets to all of us. And, we at AARP Alabama, thank you for all you do.
Oh, no, we appreciate you and we thank you for all y'all do.
Well, thank you, Frank. And folks, I hope you have a lovely rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you again next month. Thanks again, Frank.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.